Hello everyone, this is Glenda and welcome back to Creative Grandma. This is part 2 of the Santa Christmas tree skirt. This video, we're just going to finish it up. We're going to make all our little applique pieces here, sew them onto our little panels, put your little eyes on, and then all we have to do is you can slip stitch or sew your panels together, and then we're going to do this border up here of single crochet around that opening at the top of the tree skirt. Now this pattern is pattern number 564. The link to the pattern will be in the description box underneath this video, and you can also find the pattern on our website, creativegrandma.net. So let's get started. You're going to need a size I9 crochet hook to do our applique pieces today, and then you're going to need a size 10J for slip stitching, and or you can sew this together and putting our border around the top. Let's get started, and we're going to make these cheeks first. So grab your pink or whatever color you want to use, your size I9 crochet hook, and let's finish this project. I attached my yarn to my hook. Now you can use whichever method you prefer. I just use a double knot. I'm using a size I9 5.5 millimeter hook, and we're going to start with the chain 4. You're going to yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. This creates your first chain. The loop on your hook does not count as a chain. Work 3 more chain, yarn over, pull through, 2, 3, and 4. You have 4 chains. We're going to skip the first 3 chain, and we're going to work 9 double crochet into this 4th chain from hook. Yarn over the hook, insert it into that 4th chain, and work a double crochet. Yarn over, pull through the chain, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. That's how you do a double crochet. We did 1 of 9. We need to do 8 more into that same chain. Yarn over, insert into that same chain, work your 2nd double crochet. That's 2. Yarn over, insert into that same chain, work your 3rd double crochet. Now I'm just going to go ahead and work the rest of my double crochet and just count as I go. I made 3, we had to make 9. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 more, and we're going into that same chain. Oops. And 9. So what we did was we chained 4, we skipped 3 chain and worked 9 double crochet into that same 4th chain from the hook. And what that does is form a half circle. So I'm going to fasten off. Now make sure you leave enough length. You want to leave a sewing length. So I'm leaving about 12 inches. Better to have too much than not enough. So I'm going to fasten off, and I chain 2. Again, you can use your own method of fastening off. I pull my yarn out, and then I just pinch it, pull down, and it creates a secure knot. Now what you want to do is you want to take this yarn end from when you started, and it's easier if you just weave that through as you go. So I'm just going to, because it's so short, this is why I say it's better to have a longer length. I'm just going to stick my yarn needle in through those stitches, and then I'm going to bring this end over, stick it through the opening in my yarn needle, and I'm just going to weave that end in and trim off. Just pull it a little bit snug, trim that end off. That's the back of your work. The end is weaved in, so you only have one yarn end, and that's your sewing length. And we do that because we use this, and then you just use this to sew your cheeks onto your panel. So I'm going to go ahead and make my second one, and I'll be back and I'll show you how to attach it to the face. So here is our Santa panel. We just made our 2 cheeks, so you should have 2 pieces like this. And we're going to start with the cheeks to attach our pieces, because the cheeks go down, then we attach the mouth in between the cheeks, and then we're going to put the mustache on and then put the nose right in the center of that mustache, right in the top center. So that's how I assembled it. Now, what you need to do is you need to figure out where to put the cheeks and try to center them. So when I was putting mine together, I used my yarn needle. What I did was I laid that yarn needle down from the edge of the panel over, and I seen it come right about halfway to my opening in my yarn needle. And then I kind of matched it up on the other side. I just laid my yarn needle there, and that way I kind of knew where to place my cheeks. So let me just move this out of the way. I'm going to grab my panel. Here's our panel with nothing on it. Now what you want to do is we're going halfway between the brown, these 2 rows of the brown, and these 2 rows of the white. You just want to center that right between those 2 rows. And what I did was I lined the top curve of my cheek right with the top of that second row up. See how that groove is there? I just lined it up like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put these where I think they should be. So if you line it up, you can use a tape measure. I just used this and eyeballed it. So there, I have that one. Let me match this one up about right there. Again, you're going to place them there. If you have to pin them, or just do one at a time and then come over and put the other one on. So then you're just going to take your end of your yarn, thread it through your needle. And I'm going to take this one off. I just turn it whichever way you're comfortable for. And it's better if you kind of hold your finger on there while you're sewing. I'm trying to videotape. It's kind of hard to do and hold this without my hand being in the way. But what I'll do is I'll go down through my Santa panel underneath and pull my yarn needle down, and that brings that yarn down. And then what I do is, if you, let me see if I can zoom up just a little. See how you see the top of these stitches going around this panel? What I'm going to do, whoops, is I'm going to come back up underneath my panel, and I'm going to come up through that stitch. This is really hard to do and make sure it's in the film. But see how my needle is coming up through the center of that stitch? I'm going to pull up, and then I'm going down through the next stitch. So I'm coming up through this stitch, and I'm going right down through the center of that stitch. Just let me make sure this is in place. And then I'm going back down through my panel. And then I'm going to just kind of try to miss a stitch, or just grab a thread and pull my needle back up through that same stitch. And then I'm going to go down through the next stitch. And you're just going to repeat that around the cheeks until you have it sewed in place. And then you're just going to knot it on the back side and weave in the end. So I'm going to go ahead and sew my cheeks on, and then I'll be right back. I'm back, and I have my 2 cheeks sewed onto my panel, but I wanted to show you how I fasten off. When I get all the way around and I sew it on, I'm over on the back, and what I do is I just take my yarn needle, I go under one stitch, one thread, strand, and then I make a loop. I bring my needle back through that loop and make a knot, pull it tight. And then you take your needle back out through to the front. And I'm coming right up here on the bottom of this panel. Let me turn this so you can see what I'm doing. And then what I do is I take my yarn needle and I just take it under several of those stitches. And this weaves it in the same color, and then you don't see it so much on the back. And just weave it through those stitches, and then I just clip with my scissors. Make sure you don't go into the stitches, and trim that off. And that's how I fasten off and secure it. Okay, so his cheeks are done, so we have our cheeks on. Next, we're going to do the mouth. So let me move this out of the way. I'm going to grab my yarn, and I'll be right back. Now we're getting ready to work on the mouth. And the mouth, we're using red, and we're using the size I9 5.5 millimeter hook. So go ahead and attach your yarn in whichever way you prefer. Now I just tie a double knot, and we're going to start with the chain 2. Yarn over the hook, pull it through the loop on your hook, and that creates your first chain. Yarn over, pull through, and now we have 2 chains. So for the mouth, all we're going to do is we're going to work 4 single crochet into the second chain from hook. So we're going to skip that first chain, insert into the second chain, work a single crochet, yarn over, pull through that chain. You have 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. You just made a single crochet. We need to make 3 more single crochet into that same chain. Insert into that chain, work a single crochet. That's 2 of 4. Insert into that same chain, work another single crochet. That's 3. We need to make 1 more, insert into that same chain, work a single crochet, and that's 4. And that creates our little mouth, that half circle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fasten off, and again, leave a longer length. 12 inches is just the perfect length. It gives you plenty of yarn, and you can always trim after sewing. So we're leaving this sewing length. You fasten off, secure that end, and then you're going to take your yarn needle. You're going to take your yarn needle and take that short piece of yarn that you started with, and you're going to do this with all your applique pieces. You're going to take that beginning short piece and you're just going to weave that through. Now again, this is really short. You're going to weave it through some of those stitches on the back side of your piece. And this is such a tiny piece. Just weave it through a couple stitches, pull that thread through, and then trim that edge. And then you're going to have your mouth, and then you have your sewing length. So just go ahead and thread that sewing length through your needle. I'm going to grab my panel. So you want to take your panel, and now we're going to stick the mouth. So your sewing length should be on the right side, and you're just going to come up and you're going to place that mouth right between the cheeks, right there. Kind of like right towards the bottom edge of those cheeks, because again, we're going to put the mustache, see how it's there, and then we're going to put that mustache and then the nose. So now just place that there. Kind of hold your finger on it as you're sewing up and down and around your mouth. So go ahead, use the same technique that you used to sew the cheeks on. Sew the mouth on, and then I'll be back and we'll get the mustache started. So my mouth is sewed on. I just put it right by the base of the cheeks, and you have the curved part pointing down. So now we're getting ready to make our mustache. Now remember, the cheeks you needed to make 2 for each face, so you needed 24. The mouth you only need 1, so you only need to make 12, a total of 12 of the mouth. And now we're getting ready to make the mustache. So grab your white, and again, I'm using that size I9 5.5 millimeter hook. And we're going to start the mustache, and you're going to need to make a total of 12 of these. We're going to start and chain 14. You're going to yarn over the hook, pull through the loop on your hook, and that creates your first chain. yarn over, pull through, that's 2, yarn over, pull through, that's 3, yarn over, pull through, that's 4. Continue until you have a chain with 14 chains. I'll be back and we'll get our mustache started. I'm back. I have my chain with 14 chains, and now we're going to begin round 1. There's only one round. We're going to start and we're going to slip stitch into the second chain from hook. You're going to skip this first chain, insert into that second chain, and work a slip stitch. Yarn over, pull through that chain, and pull through the loop on your hook. You just made a slip stitch. We're going to single crochet into the next chain. Insert into that next chain, work a single crochet. Yarn over, pull through that chain, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now we're going to make a half double crochet into this next chain. Yarn over the hook, insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull through that chain. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Now we're going to work 3 double crochet into this next chain. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. That's how you make a double crochet. We need to make 2 more double crochet into this same chain. Yarn over, insert into that chain, work a second double crochet, yarn over, insert into that same chain, and work your 3rd double crochet. We're going to half double crochet into the next chain. Yarn over, insert into that next chain, yarn over, and pull through. You have 3 loops, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. You just made a half double crochet. You're going to single crochet into the next chain, insert into the next chain, and work a single crochet. Now we're going to work a slip stitch into the next stitch, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through that chain, and pull through the loop on your hook. You just made a slip stitch. Now we're going to single crochet into the next chain, insert into the next chain, work a single crochet. We're going to half double crochet into the next chain. Yarn over the hook, insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. You just made your half double crochet. Now we're going to work 3 double crochet into this next chain. Yarn over, insert into that next chain, yarn over, and pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You just made your double crochet. We need to make 2 more double crochet into that same chain. Yarn over, insert into that same chain, work your 2nd double crochet, yarn over, insert into that same chain, and work your 3rd double crochet. Now we're going to work a half double crochet into that next chain, yarn over, insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. You just made your half double crochet. We're going to single crochet into this next chain, insert into that next chain, and work a single crochet. You have 1 chain remaining across, and we're going to slip stitch into this last chain. Insert into that chain, yarn over, pull through that chain, and pull through the loop on your hook. The top of your mustache is finished. Now we're going to turn and work around the bottom of our work. You're going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work. Now what I do is I just hold this beginning piece of yarn up against my work, and I'm going to work right over that and weave it right in as I go. We're going to begin and we're going to slip stitch into this first chain. So right in the very edge, insert into that first chain and slip stitch. Yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain and pull it through the loop on your hook. You're going to single crochet into the next chain. So insert into that next chain and work a single crochet. And we're just repeating what we did on the top of our mustache. We're going to work a half double crochet into the next chain, yarn over the hook, insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook. You just made your half double crochet. We're going to work 3 double crochet into this next chain, yarn over the hook, insert into that next chain, work 3 double crochet. There's 1, yarn over, insert into that same chain, work your second double crochet, yarn over, insert into the same chain, work your third double crochet. We're going to work a half double crochet into this next chain, yarn over, insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. We're going to work a single crochet into this next chain, insert into that next chain and work a single crochet. We're over to the center of the mustache, and now we're going to work a slip stitch into this next chain, insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook. You just slip stitched into that chain. You're going to single crochet into the next chain, insert into that next chain, work a single crochet. We're going to work a half double crochet into the next chain, yarn over, insert into that next chain, work a half double crochet. Now we're going to work 3 double crochet into the next chain, yarn over the hook, insert into that next chain, and work 3 double crochet. There's 1, yarn over, insert into that same space, work your second double crochet, yarn over, insert into that same space, and work your third double crochet. We're going to work a half double crochet into this next chain, yarn over, insert into that next chain, and work a half double crochet. We're going to work a single crochet into this next chain, insert into that next chain, work a single crochet. We're going to slip stitch into this next chain, insert into that last chain, yarn over, pull through the chain, and pull through the loop on your hook. We're going to end with the chain 1, and you're going to swing your mustache around and you're going right into that first slip stitch of the round. So insert into that first slip stitch and slip stitch. Yarn over, pull through that stitch and pull through the loop on your hook. Your mustache is finished, so I'm going to fasten off, leaving a long sewing length, and I would leave at least 12 to 14 inches. Now I chain 2, you can fasten off whichever way you prefer. I grab that yarn, I pinch my fingers, pull down, and it creates a secure knot. Now because I worked my stitches over that piece of yarn, it weaved it in for me, so that saved me time. So now I'm going to grab my yarn needle. We're just going to take that sewing length from our mustache, thread it through the needle, bring your panel down. Let me zoom out just a little. I know the angle's not quite right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the mustache right on top of the mouth. Let me see if I can hold this up a little. So you want to put it right on top of the mouth by the cheeks. you only want a little bit of the mouth to show. But when you sew the mustache on, you want to make sure that you curve this down slightly, kind of like he's frowning, like so. So let me see if I can get my fingers out of the way. Now what I do is when I sew mine on, I sew right through the center of the mustache and I leave these ends unworked. So let me grab one that's finished, and you can see here how I just have him frowning a little bit. So you only want a little bit. This one's showing a lot more of the mouth than the other one, but you only want a little bit of the mouth showing and then have it pointed down a little. So here we go. Just you'll have to play with it a little bit, but make sure your cheeks are showing, the top of those cheeks. Have him frowning a little bit with that mustache. I'm going to go ahead and sew mine on, and then I'll be back and we'll get his little nose made. I'm back. I have my mustache sewed to my Santa face. Now it's up to you how you want to do your applique pieces. Now when I did this project, I sat and made all my cheeks, and then I made all my mouths, all my mustaches, and all my noses. And then when I got all my pieces done, then I sat, just put one of my favorite movies in, and I sat there sewing all my pieces on while I watched one of my favorite movies. And it just makes it a little bit nicer because you can just take your time, relax, and sew these pieces on. So it's up to you, kind of like an assembly line. Just get them all made, switch to the next. But however you want to do it, you can do it one panel at a time. So you'll need a total of 12 mustaches. You got one made, so you need to make 11 more. So now I'm going to jump in and we're going to start the nose. So grab whatever color you used for the face color here. I use buff. So again, I have my yarn attached to my hook. I'm using that same color buff. And I'm also using that size I9 5.5 millimeter hook. So let me get this out of the way and we'll move on and get the nose made. So now we're going to begin the nose. And I'm using the same color as I used on the face, the buff. So if you used a different color, use whatever color you used for the face. And we're going to start with the chain 2. 1, 2. We're going to skip that first chain and we're going to work 4 single crochet into that second chain from hook. Now if you have that little starting end, it's easier to hold on to that because this is tiny and it's a little tedious to work this nose. We're going to skip that first chain, insert into that second chain, and work 4 single crochet. There's 1, insert into that same chain, work your second single crochet, insert into the same chain, work your third single crochet, insert into that same chain, and work a 4th single crochet. We are not going to join the round. You can mark the first stitch, but what I do is because there's only 4 stitches, I count backwards 1, 2, 3, and 4. So right here is where you're going to insert your hook, and it's a little bit hard. You got to get your hook under both those loops of that stitch. And then we're going to start round 2. For round 2, we're going to work 2 single crochet in each of the 4 single crochet stitches. So insert your hook into that stitch, and we're not chaining 1. You just count backwards to that 4 stitch, insert your hook, and we're going to work 2 single crochet. 1, insert back into that same stitch, work your second single crochet. Insert into that next stitch, work 2 single crochet. 1, insert into that same stitch, and work your second single crochet. Insert into that next stitch and make sure you go under both loops. And again, it's small and it likes to go under and inside itself. Work 2 single crochet into that next stitch. We have 1 stitch to go, and again it wants to dip in, so you have to keep pulling it out. Insert into that next stitch and work your 2 single crochet. So now you have a total of 8 single crochet around. So now for round 3, we do not join. We're just going to continue and work 1 single crochet in each of the 8 stitches around. So insert your hook into that first stitch, and I'm going to count my stitches as I go. Work a single crochet into that first stitch, that's 1. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, that's 2. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, that's 3. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, that's 4. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, that's 5. We have 3 to go. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, that's 6. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, that's 7. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, and that's 8. And if you look at your work, it wants to bow in on itself. So this is the wrong side. You have to turn it right side out. You have to push that so it's right side out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fasten off, and you need to leave a sewing length. So leave at least 12 inches. Again, it's better to have too much than not enough. So let me fasten off. I chain 2, pull my yarn out, and I just pull down, and it creates a secure knot. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to push that little piece of yarn down in my nose. I just keep that in there. I don't take the time to weave it in. I just shove it in there because we need a little bit of fiber fill to stuff this nose. So let me grab my fiber fill, and then I'll show you how to stuff your little nose and close that up. I'll be right back. I'm back. So I have my yarn needle threaded through that sewing length. And what you're going to do before you stuff the nose, I cram that extra piece of yarn from that starting length, and you're just going to insert your hook into and out of each stitch around, just weaving it in and out. Pull that thread through. Continue working until you're all the way around the nose. Until you're back around to the beginning. So I'm back over to my knot. I forgot to put my glasses on. And then you're going to need just a tiny little bit of fiber fill, not very much, just enough to kind of fill that nose out a little bit. Just put that fiber fill in there. That was even too much. Use the end of your hook and just get it in there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull on your yarn and tighten that up. Just pull on that string and it closes your little nose up. And then you can just use your fingers and like push it down. And then what I do is I take my yarn needle and I just do an X. I go one way just to secure and close that opening, and then I just go across the other way, just to secure that opening closed. And then just kind of flatten it out a little bit with your fingers. Grab your panel, and then you're just going to sew your nose. You're going to place that nose right there in the center above that mustache. Let me lift this panel up. Let me zoom out just a little. So we're just going to place the nose right on top of the mustache. So get my hands out of the way, right there. Place it right in the center where you think it looks the best, and then just sew it to the face. So I'm going to sew my nose onto the face, and then I'll be back and I'll show you what to do for the eyes. I'm back. I got my nose sewed on, and now you're going to grab your buttons. I have 2 buttons. You need a total of 24 buttons. You need 2 buttons for each panel. You have 12 panels, so you need 24 eyes. So what I do is place your eyes on your Santa. Now I'm going to put them really far apart and just show you. When you look at your Santa, try to figure out the nicest way of how he looks. If they're too far apart, they're not going to look right. If they're too close together, they're not going to look right. They'll look a little whimsical. So just try to judge where you want to place your eyes. Whoops. Hard to hold them in place. So kind of judge where you want to put your eyes. Get your eyes where you want them and sew the eyes into place. So go ahead and sew your eyes on, and when you come back, I'm going to show you how to crochet your panels together. Only 2 more steps to go and you're going to have your Christmas tree skirt done. So I'll be right back. I'm back. By now you should have all 12 of your panels made. You should have all your applique pieces sewed on. You should have your eyes sewed on. You already done your border around all the panels, so now we're getting ready to assemble them to do the tree skirt. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the panel, it doesn't matter which side, and you're going to flip it so they're face to face. You're going to have nose to nose, nose touching nose, right side to right side, and the wrong side will be facing up. You're going to be using your size 10J crochet hook if you're crocheting your panels together. So you're going to swing the panel around. So you swung your panel around, and now you're starting in the first buff colored or the first stitch of the face colored section. So insert your hook into that first stitch, and I'm going into the front loop, which is actually the back loop, but when you're facing, it's the first loop facing you. And then I'm going to match it up with the back loop on the other panel. I'm going to grab my buff. I'm going to leave about a 6 to 7 inch length. I'm going to pull it through, and then again, I come back later and knot that and secure it. You're going to chain 1. You're going to insert back into that same stitch, into those same loops, and you're going to work a single crochet. You're going to go into the front loop of that next stitch. You're going to match it up to the back loop of the stitch below, and you're going to work a single crochet. Now I'm working right over that edge piece of yarn. And we're just going to continue working in the front loop and matching it with the back loop of the stitch below in the opposite panel. And you're going to be working a single crochet or a slip stitch or whatever you want to do to join it. And we're just going to match the stitches up the side of the work. I'm going to get that yarn out of the way so you can see better what I'm doing. Just line up your stitches to make sure that they're coming out. So this one goes with that one with that one, this one with this one. And I'm going to work down my panel. Now I'm coming over to the new section. So you're going to change your color. You're going to, when you're into that last stitch, right before you change colors, insert, pull that same color through, and then stop. And now we're going to join our white. And again, I just tie a double knot because I weave all these ends in and secure them with my yarn needle. Just pull that down towards your work. Grab that new color and pull it through. And then you can go ahead and clip the face color, that buff. And then once you have that new color secured, you can go ahead and cut the color you're done with. And always cut a longer length because it's easier to maneuver that yarn. We're just going to continue in the same manner. I'm matching up. I'm going into the front loop facing me and matching it to the back loop of the panel below. and I'm just single crocheting down the side of my panel. I'm almost to the red section. Again, we're over to that last stitch, so you're going to insert into that last stitch, matching it up with the panel below, yarn over, pull that same color through, you have 2 loops, and then stop. You're going to grab your next color, which is red, attach it to your white, pull that red down to the side of your work, and I'm just going to fasten off my white now, leaving a longer length. I'm going to pull that red through the 2 white loops, and then you can see how it matches up. Insert into that next red stitch and just continue matching your colors and working the single crochet, matching from the top panel to the bottom panel below. So continue working in the same manner I just showed you how you change colors when you get to each section. Continue working down the red, change over to white when you get to that last red stitch, and then finish working down the white. Work down to the end of the panel into that last stitch and then fasten off. I'm going to continue single crocheting down in the same manner. When I'm finished, I'll be back and I'll show you how it looks. I just finished single crocheting from the buff part of our face right at the top of the edge of the beard, right where the face starts. I single crocheted down, matching the color right down to the end of the panel. So let me zoom out. I'm going to open it up, and this is what it looks like. And that's how you crochet your panels together. So you're just going to grab your next panel. Now this one, he doesn't have his eyes yet. You're going to butt this one up with that panel. You're going to flip it over, and you're just going to continue starting. You can click back on the video, start where I showed you to start here. You're going to flip this around, pick it up, insert your hook into that first stitch, and then single crochet down your panels, matching the colors as you go. And you're going to repeat that until you have all 12 panels crocheted together or sewn together. So go ahead and get your panels assembled, and then I'll be back, and then what we're going to do is the final step of crocheting just a simple single crochet round around the top of this opening to give it a little bit more finished look. So that's almost done. I'll meet you back when I get all my panels together, and then we'll do that final border edging. So I have all of my panels attached. I have all 12, and it forms this 40-inch circle. So here it is. Let's see if I can zoom out just a little. It's pretty big. I can't get it all in the camera, but you can see how it looks when you have them all put together. So that's how it looks. So now we're going to go up and we're going to put the trim edge on the inside and make this look a little nicer. Now the only problem I had with this tree skirt is when you get it all finished, it does not want to line up completely. So when you get it done and you have this put together, you can choose to try to block this and form it into shape, but it tends to want to go out and have a gap here. So you can overlap it slightly and put a button here to secure that if you want it secured around your tree, but you may have that part here if you don't block it. I mean, I didn't block this yet, so I'm not sure if I can pull that over all the way. So you may have to just overlap this slightly to get it to close, and then if you want to, you can hook a button, like maybe a white button here, a red button, and just put a button to secure it if you want that to completely close. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your tree skirt and you're going to come over to the one side where you have the opening, and we're going to start. Now I had to rip this out because I had this done, so it's going to look a little funny because I ripped it out. I'm going to grab my 10J hook. So let me swing this around, get it in position, and zoom up. You're going to need your white yarn. So what we're going to do is we're starting with the edge panel, the first panel from right going around, from right to left around the top of the skirt. So with this panel, every panel has the side border. So you have the side border here, you have 3 single crochet stitches, and then you have the side border again here. You have your joining seam, you have that side border. If you look real close, here's that last stitch of the side border, your 3 single crochet across the top, and then again you have your side border. Just follow and look for that last stitch, and then you have your joining seam. So we're going to insert into this first stitch of the side border of that first panel going from right to left. Insert into the stitch right around the row end stitch of that first stitch of that side panel. I'm going to leave about a 6 to 8 inch length, and then I'll weave that in and secure it when I'm done. Pull that new color through, and you're going to chain 1. You're going to insert back into that row end stitch of that border and work 1 single crochet. We're going to work 1 single crochet in each of the 3 single crochet at the top of the hat. Now these will be chain stitches because this is where we started working in the foundation chain, working in the opposite direction. So insert into that first stitch, work a single crochet. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet, insert into the next stitch, and work a single crochet. So far you have a single crochet into that row end border stitch and 1 single crochet in each of the 3 stitches across the top of that panel. Then you have your side border stitch. So you'll have to look. Here is your joining seam, your side border stitches right here. You really have to look for it. Just find those stitches in the side border, follow them down. Here is the stitch, and we're working around the edge post of that stitch of the side border. Work a single crochet. So now you're going to jump over this joining seam. Let's see if I can get this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. We're going to skip the joining seam, and you're going to go into that next single crochet of that row end border. So every panel, again, you have your row end stitch of that side border, you have 3 stitches across the top, and then you have your row end border from that going around the 3 sides, so you have an extra stitch here. So you're working basically a total of 5 single crochet across the top of each one of these 12 panels. So skip the joining seam here, insert into that row end stitch of that panel side border, work a single crochet. Insert into that next stitch and work 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches across the top of that panel. Then you're going to look for the next stitch, which is the last row end stitch of that side border. Insert into that next stitch and work a single crochet. So I'm going to show you one more time, and then you can continue working around. If you need help, just click back to this part of the video and repeat around until I say this is the end of the repeat. So that will help you. So to start the repeat, you're going to skip this next joining seam. You're going to look for the next stitch, which is down a little bit from the top of this. So look for that ending stitch of that side border. Insert around the post of that stitch. Sometimes it might be a little hard to get your hook in there. Work a single crochet. Insert your hook into the next stitch and work 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches across the top of your panel. Then you're going to look for the row end stitch of that border that went around your panel. Insert into that row end stitch of that panel border and work a single crochet. And that is the end of the repeat. So go ahead and repeat that around the remaining panels, and I'll meet you at the end of round 1. I'm over at the last panel, at the last 2 stitches, so I thought I'd stop and show you how to finish. I have one more stitch on the top, the last single crochet of the 3, and then I have that last stitch of that border that went around the panel. So insert into that last stitch, which is the last stitch in that panel border. Work a single crochet, fasten off. So I'm just going to chain 2 and fasten off like I always do. And there we have our single crochet around the top of the skirt. So let me lay this out one more time. Now I have to weave in my ends, so ignore all those ends. So it just puts a nice little finish around. It's a little scalloped yet, but it looks good. So let me zoom out. Again, when you get this finished, I just want to show you that when you get over the opening to the tree skirt, it wants to flare out. So you can try to block it. Now I suggest that you overlap it. If you want to secure it, I would put a button at the top and maybe one here at the red section and maybe a button here at his beard. It will overlap just slightly. Put that to the back. So that is the Christmas tree skirt. It's just a fun little design for the holiday season. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you leave a comment and let me know if you finished it, how you liked it, if you enjoyed this pattern, and it helps me know what that my subscribers enjoy doing, and it helps me create other projects. Again, this pattern is available. The link is in the description box underneath the video, and the pattern is also available on our website, creativegrandma.net. Thank you everybody for stopping by today, and as always, happy crocheting!